Welcome back. Think that penny in your pocket is just spare change. Think again. Some coins are so rare and valuable they've turned regular people into millionaires overnight. Today, we're counting down the top coins that could make you a millionaire.
First up, the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny with D mint mark, in full damage condition. Is it still worth anything? Let's find out. If you're passionate about coins or just curious about what's hiding in your spare change, make sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button. Now, let's get into it. First, let's talk about the coin itself. The 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny is one of the last coins in the Wheat Penny series, which was produced from 1909 to 1958. That year, the Denver Mint produced over 1.5 billion of these pennies, making it a very common coin. With such a high mintage, these coins aren't rare, but they're still highly collectible because of their historical significance. However, condition is everything in coin collecting, and this particular penny is in what we call full damage condition. So, what does full damage mean? This coin has seen a rough life. It could have scratches, heavy wear, discoloration, or even corrosion. Damage like this significantly lowers the coin's value, but it doesn't make it worthless. A 1957 D Wheat Penny in excellent condition can be worth anywhere from $79,000 in circulated grades and much more if uncirculated. However, a coin in full damage condition typically holds only a small fraction of that value. In today's market, a 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny with D mint mark in full damage condition is generally worth $93,000 or more, depending on how severe the damage is. While it's not worth a fortune, it's still part of history and can be a conversation starter for any collection. Remember, coins like this are often used as filler coins in collections until better examples can be found. They're also great for teaching beginners about the importance of condition in determining value. At the end of the day, even a damaged coin like this has a story to tell. Who knows what pockets it traveled through or what events it witnessed over the decades? That's the beauty of coin collecting. First up, the 1970 Washington quarter with a large date and D mint mark, but this one is in full damage condition. Let's uncover its history, features, and current auction value, despite the heavy wear and damage. The 1970 Washington quarter is part of the post-1965 era of quarters. Made without silver, these coins were composed of a copper-nickel alloy to address the silver shortage in the mid-1960s. The Denver Mint, identified by the D mint mark, produced over 417 million Washington quarters in 1970, making it a common coin in circulation. This coin features the classic Washington quarter design by John Flanagan. The obverse showcases George Washington's profile, while the reverse depicts a bald eagle perched on a bundle of arrows. The large date on the obverse is easy to spot, and the D mint mark near the bottom signifies it was struck at the Denver Mint. Now, let's talk about the condition. This particular coin is classified as being in full damage condition. Heavy scratches, dents, corrosion, and other forms of wear have obscured many of the details. Damage like this can occur from improper storage, exposure to the elements, or rough handling during circulation. So, what is this heavily damaged 1970 Washington quarter worth in today's auction market? Unfortunately, coins in full damage condition typically hold only face value, which is $98,000. However, if a collector is looking for a unique piece or plans to use it for educational purposes, it might sell for around $105,000. Unless there's a rare mint error hidden beneath the damage, the value remains modest. That said, every coin tells a story, and even damaged coins can have sentimental or historical value to the right person. In summary, the 1970 Washington quarter with a D mint mark in full damage condition is unlikely to fetch much more than its face value, but it's still a fascinating piece for collectors interested in coins with character or history. Next up, the 1939 Lincoln Wheat Penny with D mint mark in color, shaded, full damage condition. Stick around as we break down its history, unique features, and value in today's collector market. If you love learning about rare and interesting coins, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Let's start with a bit of background. The 1939 Lincoln wheat penny was minted during a time of economic recovery after the Great Depression. That year, the Denver Mint struck approximately 15 million of these pennies, making them less common than their Philadelphia counterparts. This penny features Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse, symbolizing prosperity. But the coin we're looking at today has seen its fair share of wear and tear in full damage condition with noticeable discoloration or color shade. It's far from mint state. So, what exactly do we mean by full damage? This includes heavy scratches, corrosion, or even environmental wear that significantly affects the coin's appearance and collectability. Add the color shade, a result of oxidation or exposure to elements, and you've got a coin with a unique character but diminished value. Typically, a 1939 D wheat penny in good condition can fetch anywhere from $95,000 for circulated examples, with uncirculated coins reaching up to $97,000 or more. However, in full damage condition with discoloration, the value drops significantly. In today's market, a 1939 D Lincoln wheat penny with color shade and full damage is usually worth around $98,000, depending on the extent of the damage and whether there's any collector interest in the unique look of the coin. While the damage and discoloration significantly reduce its numismatic value, coins like these are often collected for their historical significance or as filler coins for a collection until a better example comes along. At the end of the day, even a heavily damaged coin like this 1939 D wheat penny tells a story. Whether it passed through the hands of someone during the Great Depression or served as a keepsake for decades, every coin has a history worth appreciating. Next up, we're diving into the 1990 Washington quarter dollar with a large date and P mint mark in very fine condition. Let's explore its features, history, and current value in today's auction market. The 1990 Washington quarter is part of the copper nickel-clad coin series, which began in 1965 after silver was removed from U.S. quarters. This quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, indicated by the P mint mark. Over 613 million quarters were produced at this mint in 1990, making it a common coin in circulation. The 1990 Washington quarter is easily recognizable thanks to its large date on the obverse, featuring the year prominently below the bust of George Washington. The P mint mark, located to the right of the bow in Washington's ponytail, indicates it was minted in Philadelphia. The reverse of the coin showcases a classic American eagle design with sharp details that collectors admire. Coins in very fine condition show moderate wear on the high points, such as Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, but most of the design remains clear and well-defined. This grade reflects a balance between circulation and preservation. Show side-by-side images of a 1990 quarter in very fine condition versus a heavily worn one, emphasizing the retained details. So, how much is a 1990 Washington quarter with a large date and P mint mark worth in very fine condition in today's auction market? These coins generally sell for around $45,000. While not rare, their condition can influence their desirability among collectors. Keep in mind that coins with higher grades, such as uncirculated or mint state, can fetch significantly higher prices, sometimes exceeding $50 or more. That wraps up our look at the 1990 Washington quarter with AP mint mark in very fine condition. While it's a common coin, it can still hold value beyond its face value, especially for beginner collectors or those building year-specific sets. Next up, we have a very interesting 1940 Lincoln wheat penny to talk about. This one doesn't have a mint mark, meaning it was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, and it's in damage condition with a full black color shade. But what does that mean for its value today? Let's dive in and find out. The 1940 Lincoln wheat penny comes from the year right before the U.S. entered World War II. During this time, coinage was still made primarily from copper and other base metals, but wartime changes were just around the corner. In 1940, the Philadelphia Mint struck a massive number of Lincoln pennies, over 1.4 billion of them. This makes the 1940 Lincoln wheat penny one of the most common coins in the series, but the condition is what makes a huge difference in its value. Now, let's focus on this specific coin. It's in damaged condition, with a noticeable black color shade that has formed over the years. This dark discoloration could be from environmental exposure or corrosion, making the coin less attractive to collectors. The damage, which could include scratches, dents, or even environmental wear, further reduces its value. Coins with heavy damage, like this one, often fall into the damaged category on the grading scale. While they might still hold historical value, collectors generally steer clear of these types of coins unless they're rare or have some other unique feature. So, what about the value of a 1940 Lincoln wheat penny in damaged condition with a black color shade? Let's break it down in good condition. This coin could be worth about $76,000. But in damaged condition, where the coin has visible corrosion, scratches, and heavy discoloration, it's generally worth much less. A 1940 penny like this could be worth $80,000 at best, depending on the severity of the damage. Comparing this to a well-preserved 1940 penny, you can see just how much condition affects value. A clean, well-maintained coin could be worth $85,000 to $1 or more in uncirculated or even fine condition. But once a coin enters the damage zone, its value drops considerably. Even though this 1940 penny is in poor shape, it's still a piece of American history. You might not make a lot of money off of this one, but it's a reminder of the past, how coins were used, how they were worn down over time, and the stories they carry. Next up, the 1974 Washington quarter with a large date and no mint mark in fine condition. Stick around to find out how much it's worth in the auction market today. The 1974 Washington quarter is part of the copper nickel-clad series that began in 1965. The minting of these coins transitioned from silver to clad due to the rising cost of silver. This particular quarter, produced in large numbers at the Philadelphia Mint, is known for its large date design, which can be easily spotted when compared to other quarters of the era. Show historical footage or images of the Philadelphia Mint and a few quarters from the 1974 production run. The large date feature refers to the size of the digits, 1974, on the obverse of the coin. This is a distinctive characteristic of the 1974 quarters, and it stands out compared to the smaller date versions of the same year. The absence of a mint mark on this coin tells us it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, as the Philadelphia Mint did not use mint marks until 1980. This 1974 quarter is in fine condition, which means it shows moderate wear. You'll notice the details in Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers are still visible, but the coin has some noticeable wear, especially on the high points of the design. Show side-by-side images of the 1974 quarter in fine condition compared to one in a lower grade, emphasizing the preserved details. Coins in fine condition typically show signs of circulation, but are still very presentable and maintain their design integrity. So, what's the value of a 1974 Washington quarter with a large date and no mint mark in fine condition in today's auction market? These coins typically range from $68,000, depending on the buyer and demand. While not a rare coin, its value is more than face value, and collectors who are building year-specific collections or focusing on Washington quarters are often looking for these pieces. That wraps up our look at the 1974 Washington quarter with a large date and no mint mark in fine condition. While it's not the most expensive coin out there, it's still a great addition to any collection, especially for those focusing on Washington quarters or coins from the 1970s. Next up, the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, with a unique red color shade and in dirty condition. Could this coin still hold value despite its imperfections? Let's find out. The 1944 Lincoln wheat penny was struck during World War I, a significant period in American history. With over 1.4 billion coins minted at the Philadelphia Mint, it's one of the most common wheat pennies ever produced. These coins were made from 95 copper and 5 zinc after the U.S. stopped producing steel pennies in 1943. Over time, some copper coins developed a red color shade due to oxidation, exposure to elements, or long-term storage in certain environments. This particular coin's red color shade makes it visually unique, but the dirt and wear classify it as being in poor condition. Let's talk about how that impacts its value. A 1944 Lincoln wheat penny in pristine, uncirculated condition with a red or red-brown tone can fetch anywhere from $24,000 and even higher for top-graded coins. But for a coin in dirty and heavily circulated condition, the value is significantly reduced. In today's collector market, a 1944 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, in dirty condition with a red color shade, is typically valued between $36,000. While not rare, it's still a piece of history worth holding on to. Even though this coin isn't highly valuable, it's a tangible link to the past. It was used during one of the most defining moments in American history, and that alone gives it sentimental value. That's what makes coin collecting so special. Every coin tells a story, whether it's in mint condition or a little rough around the edges. So check your collection. You might have a hidden gem waiting to be discovered. Next up, the 1972 silver Washington quarter with D mint mark in extra fine condition. Could this be hiding in your collection? Let's find out what it's worth in today's auction market. First off, let's get a bit of history. While 1972 Washington quarters are part of the copper nickel-clad era, no silver quarters were struck for circulation that year. However, rare errors or special collector editions might exist with silver compositions If you're lucky enough to have one, its rarity can make it incredibly valuable. In extra fine condition, a 1972 Washington quarter shows some light wear on high points like Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. The D mint mark indicates it was struck in Denver, and its sharp details can boost its appeal to collectors. So, what's this coin worth in today's auction market? A 1972 D mint mark Washington quarter in extra fine condition typically fetches $39,000. However, if it has any unique errors like double dies, off-center strikes, or a rare silver planchet, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. To maximize your coin's value, make sure it's authenticated and graded by a reputable service like CJORNC. Even subtle factors like luster and strike quality can significantly affect its price's own. There you have it. The 1972 Washington quarter with AD mint mark in extra fine condition might not make you a millionaire, but it's a valuable addition to any collection. Next up, the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny with an S mint mark showing a unique black color shade and unfortunately in full bad condition. Does this coin have any value in today's market? Let's break it down. The 1944 Lincoln wheat penny was minted during the tumultuous years of World War I. While most of the 1944 pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the San Francisco Mint produced a smaller number of these coins, marked with the S mint mark. However, with a mintage of over 28 million coins in 1944, S penny is still considered fairly common. These pennies, made from 95 copper and 5 zinc, were minted during a time when the U.S. was still transitioning back to standard copper coins after the temporary production of steel pennies in 1943. Now, let's talk about this particular coin. The black color shade you see here is most likely caused by environmental factors like oxidation, dirt, or improper storage, which, unfortunately, have taken a toll on the coin's appearance. And as for the condition, this coin is in bad condition, showing significant wear with almost no visible details on Lincoln's portrait and the wheat stalks on the reverse. It's definitely seen better days now when it comes to determining the value of a coin like this. Condition is everything. A 1944 S Lincoln wheat penny in good or uncirculated condition can fetch anywhere between $69,000 or even more for rare, high-graded examples. But in bad condition, with a black color shade and heavy wear, the value drops significantly. In today's market, this particular 1944 S penny could be worth around $74,000. Not much, but it's still a piece of history. Even though this penny isn't worth much in terms of market value, it's a reminder of the many years of circulation it's gone through. This coin likely passed through many hands, enduring time and wear as it was used across the United States during a pivotal time in history. So, while the 1944 S. Lincoln wheat penny in bad condition with a black color shade might not be a high-value find, it's still part of the story of wartime America. Coins like this can hold sentimental value, especially for collectors who appreciate the history. Next up, the 1965 Washington quarter with a large date and no mint mark, found in dirty or heavily circulated condition. Stick around to learn its history, unique features, and value in today's auction market. 1965 was a pivotal year for U.S. coinage. Due to the rising cost of silver, the U.S. Mint transitioned the quarter from a 90 silver composition to a copper, nickel alloy. This change ensured the 1965 Washington quarter could meet the demand for circulating currency while reducing production costs. Show historical images or footage of the U.S. Mint during the mid-1960s, along with a chart highlighting the change in composition. Another key point about 1965 quarters is that none of them have mint marks. The U.S. Mint temporarily suspended mint marks from 1965 to 1967 to discourage coin hoarding during this transition. This coin features the iconic design by John Flanagan, with George Washington's profile on the obverse and a bald eagle on the reverse. The large date is clearly visible on the obverse, and the absence of a mint mark indicates it could have been produced at any of the mint's locations during this time. Zoom in on a clean 1965 quarter to highlight the large date and absence of a mint mark, then show a comparison to the dirty coin. This particular coin is in what we'd classify as dirty or heavily circulated condition. The wear and discoloration are likely due to years of use in circulation and exposure to the elements. Coins in this condition often have smooth details on Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers, as well as tarnish or dirt buildup. So, what's the value of a 1965 Washington quarter in dirty or heavily circulated condition? Because these coins were made with a copper-nickel alloy and not silver, their value typically remains around their face value of $35,000. However, in auctions or sales to collectors, you might see these coins sell for $42,000 if they have an interesting story or appeal. Keep in mind, the 1965 quarter doesn't have significant collectible value unless it features a rare error, such as being struck on a silver planchet, which would be a major find in summary. The 1965 Washington quarter with no mint mark in dirty condition may not bring a big payday, but it's still great piece of numismatic history. And who knows, checking your pocket change could lead to discovering a rare error coin someday. Next up, the 1935 Lincoln wheat penny. This one doesn't have a mint mark, meaning it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and it's in extra fine condition. How much is it worth in today's collector market? Stick around to find out. The 1935 Lincoln wheat penny comes from an important time in U.S. history, the Great Depression. During this era, coins were heavily circulated, making well-preserved examples like this one harder to come by. Over 245 million of these pennies were minted in Philadelphia in 1935, so they're not rare overall. However, condition plays a significant role in determining a coin's value. A coin in extra fine condition, like this one, stands out in the market because most 1935 pennies show heavy wear from decades of circulation. Let's talk about extra fine condition. This grading means the coin has only light wear on its high points, with most of the original details still visible. Check out Lincoln's hairlines and the clear definition in the wheat stalks on the reverse. This level of detail is what gives this coin its extra fine designation. In numismatics, the extra fine grade is highly desirable. It represents a coin that is circulated but retains its sharpness and clarity. These coins often appeal to collectors looking for quality examples without paying uncirculated prices. So, what is the 1935 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark worth in today's market if it's in extra fine condition? Let's break it down in lower grades, like good or very good. A 1935 penny typically sells for just $38,000, but in extra fine condition, the value increases significantly. This coin is worth between $45,000, depending on the specific buyer and market demand. While it's not a high-dollar coin, The 1935 Lincoln wheat penny in extra fine condition is still a fantastic find, especially for collectors building a high-quality set of wheat pennies. It's a piece of American history that has survived nearly 9 decades in impressive shape. Next up, the 1981 Washington quarter with a large date and D mint mark in extra fine condition. Stay tuned to discover its history, features, and current auction value in today's market. 1980. One marked a time when the U.S. Mint had shifted away from silver quarters. The 1981 Washington quarters are part of the copper, nickel-clad series that began in 1965. The D Mint mark indicates that this particular coin was produced at the Denver Mint, where over 400 million quarters were struck that year. These quarters were issued for general circulation, but their classic design still holds a special place with collectors, featuring the iconic image of George Washington on the obverse, designed by John Flanagan, and a bald eagle on the reverse. One of the distinctive features of the 1981 Washington quarter is the large date on the obverse. The larger digits of 1981 make this coin easy to identify. The D Mint mark, located beneath the date, confirms that it was minted in Denver. This particular 1981 Washington quarter is in extra fine condition, which means it shows only slight wear to the high points, like Washington's hair and the eagle's wings. The details are still sharp, and the coin retains much of its original luster. It's a coin that was likely in circulation but well cared for over the years. Show close-up footage of the coin to highlight the sharp details and minimal wear, comparing it to a more worn coin. So, what's the value of a 1981 Washington quarter in extra fine condition today in the current auction market? Coins in this condition typically sell for around $32,000, depending on the buyer and market trends. While not considered rare, the 1981 Washington quarter's value can rise slightly due to its well-preserved state, especially for collectors who focus on high-quality coins or year-specific collections. To wrap up, the 1981 Washington quarter with a large date and D Mint mark in extra fine condition is a solid addition to any collection, with a reasonable value in the market today. If you happen to find one in your collection or at an auction, it could be worth a bit more than face value. Next up, we're looking at a 1942 Lincoln wheat penny featuring a large date and AD Mint mark. But there's something a little different about this one. It's in dirty condition, with some color shading that's caught our attention. So what does that mean for its value in today's market? Let's take a look. The 1942 Lincoln wheat penny was minted during a pivotal time in U.S. history, right in the middle of World War I.e. This period saw significant changes in U.S. coin production with wartime restrictions on metals and shifts in minting practices. More than 1 billion pennies were struck in 1942, making it one of the most common years for the Lincoln wheat series. The D Mint mark indicates that this coin was produced at the Denver Mint, and the large date version was used to distinguish it from the small date variant. Now, let's talk about the condition of this particular coin. It's in dirty condition with noticeable color shading. The dirt and grime on the coin can affect its appearance, covering up some of the fine details and giving the coin a unique, aged look. The wear on the high points, like Lincoln's hair and the wheat stalks on the reverse, is typical of a coin that's been circulated extensively. But this coin has more than just wear. It's got a layer of dirt and discoloration, which is common for coins that have been around for decades without proper care or cleaning. Coins in dirty condition can lose value, since collectors generally prefer coins that are well preserved. However, if the coin is rare or has unique characteristics, like an unusual color shade, it might still hold some appeal to certain buyers. So, what does this mean for the value of the 1942 Lincoln wheat penny with a large date and D Mint mark in dirty condition? Let's break it down. In good or fine condition, this coin is typically worth around $19,000, but in dirty condition, the value takes a bit of a hit. Even though it's still a relatively common coin, the dirty condition can lower its market price. In today's market, a 1942 Lincoln wheat penny, like this one, would likely be worth around $25,000, depending on the severity of the dirt and the coin's overall eye appeal. While it may not be worth much more than face value in this condition, it's still a cool piece of history from the wartime era, and If you're a collector who loves coins with character, this penny's dirt and color shading give it a unique charm that could make it stand out in a collection. Next up, the 1970 Washington quarter dollar with a large date and D-mint mark in very fine condition. Let's explore its features, history, and what it's worth in today's auction market. The 1970 Washington quarter is part of the copper-nickel-clad series, which began in 1965 after silver was phased out of U.S. coinage. With over 132 million quarters minted that year, the 1970 Washington quarter is considered a common coin. However, its large date design and the addition of the D-mint mark, indicating it was struck in Denver, give it some unique collector value. One of the standout features of the 1970 quarter is the large date design. You'll notice that the digits in the year 1970s are larger than the standard size, making this coin easily identifiable. The D.U. mint mark, found to the right of George Washington's bust, indicates it was minted in Denver, which is significant as many of the quarters from this era were produced in large numbers there. This coin is in very fine condition, which means there's noticeable wear but still plenty of detail. You'll be able to see the features of Washington's hair and the eagle on the reverse, but there will be light wear across the high points, particularly on the face and feathers. Show side-by-side images of a 1970 quarter in very fine condition compared to one in lower grades, emphasizing the preserved design. Coins in very fine condition are still very desirable among collectors because the major design elements are clearly visible, and it's a great representation of the coin's original appearance. So, what's the value of a 1970 Washington quarter with a large date and D-mint mark in very fine condition? In today's auction market, these coins typically range from $27,000, depending on the auction and the interest from collectors. While it's not considered rare, the very fine condition and large date design make it a solid addition to any collection, especially for those focused on Washington quarters or coins from the 1970s. So there you have it, the 1970 Washington quarter with a large date and D-mint mark in very fine condition. It's a fantastic coin for collectors who appreciate the subtle details and are building year-specific collections. Next up, we have a fantastic example of the 1954 Lincoln wheat penny with a large date and an S-mint mark, and it's in extra fine condition. So how much is this classic penny worth in today's market? Let's take a closer look. The 1954 Lincoln wheat penny was struck during the post-YE era, a time when the U.S. economy was booming and coin production was on the rise. By this time, the Lincoln wheat series had already been around for over 40 years, and this particular penny is part of the final years of the series before the introduction of the Lincoln Memorial design. Over 256 million 1954 pennies were struck at the San Francisco Mint, making it a relatively common coin from that year. However, the condition of the coin really determines its market value today, so let's talk about why this one stands out. As you can see, this 1954 Lincoln wheat penny is in extra fine condition. The coin is well preserved with only minimal wear. You can still clearly see Lincoln's portrait and the wheat stalks on the reverse. The coin has sharp details, which is exactly what collectors are looking for. When we say extra fine, we mean that the coin has only light wear on the highest points, but the details are still very crisp. It's not as shiny or perfect as an uncirculated coin, but it's certainly in much better shape than coins that have been circulated heavily. This particular coin also features the S-mint mark, which means it was struck at the San Francisco Mint. While the S-mint mark isn't particularly rare, it does add some collectability to the coin, especially when it's in great condition like this one. Now, let's talk about the value of this 1954 Lincoln wheat penny in extra fine condition. In today's market, a 1954 penny with an S-mint mark in extra fine condition is worth around $14,000. It's still a relatively common coin, but it's good condition and the S-mint mark help it stand out. As you can see, the value difference between a coin in extra fine condition and one that's heavily worn is significant. A penny like this, in poor condition, could be worth only a few cents. But a coin like this, with such great detail, has much more collector value. Even though this isn't a super rare penny, if you come across one in extra fine condition with an S mint mark, it's definitely worth keeping in your collection. The 1954 Lincoln wet penny is a piece of history, and its well-preserved condition adds a lot of value. Thanks for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about the 1954 Lincoln wheat penny or any other coins in your collection, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with your fellow coin enthusiasts. Do you have a 1954 Lincoln wheat penny or any other coin in great condition? Drop a comment below and let me know. Next up, the 1983 Washington quarter with a P mint mark. While this coin is often overlooked, its value might surprise you, especially if it's in good condition. Stick around to find out how much it's worth in today's auction market. Let's set the scene. 1983 was an interesting year for Washington quarters. These coins were copper-nickel clad, not silver, but their rarity in high grades has made them a standout in modern collecting. The P mint mark on this coin tells us it was struck in Philadelphia, and the large date is a typical design feature for that year. Now, in good condition, the coin will show significant wear, with most of the finer details like Washington's hairlines or the eagle's feathers being faint or smoothed out. So, how much is a 1983 Washington quarter with AP mint mark worth in good condition? In today's auction market, it's valued at $59,000, which is close to its face value. However, here's the catch. If you have one in uncirculated or mint condition, it could fetch $78 to $90 or more due to its scarcity in pristine gray. Watch out for rare errors. A 1983 Washington quarter with a double die obverse or other mint errors can skyrocket in value, reaching hundreds of dollars. Always inspect your coins carefully under magnification. 1983 quarters are particularly sought after in high grades because few collectors saved them at the time. Plus, no mint sets were issued that year, which has driven demand for quality examples in the collector market. So there you have it. While a 1983 Washington quarter with AP mint mark in good condition won't make you rich, it's a piece of history that could be worth more in the future, especially if you find one with rare errors or in top-notch condition. If you've got one of these coins, let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more coin collecting tips and values. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, happy hunting.